When I got home from my business trip to New York and turned on my smart display, something felt off. My Netflix subscription expired last month. The account logged in wasn't mine. Its watch history was filled with reality shows, TV dramas, and even cheesy romance movies, which Dylan had always scoffed at. Seconds later, the account signed out automatically. Dylan's call came right away. "Honey, a colleague came over after our team dinner last week and logged into her account on your smart display. Don't mind it." Mind it. How could I not? After all, what she'd logged into wasn't just the display, it was Dylan's bed. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel and tell us where you're listening from in the comments. I'm a sensitive person. Since we started dating and got married, Dylan had promised to give me his full trust. "I'll never make you shed a single tear over doubt." So I headed straight to his company in Los Angeles and asked HR for all employees' files. I was deep in reviewing them when Dylan rushed over, breathless, and covered my eyes with his hand. "What a surprise. You're back from your trip and came to see me at work." His cautious probing stung. I calmly set down the resumes. "Heard you've hired a lot of new talent while I was away. They're all doing great." Dylan relaxed, sitting across from me, for the first time, not choosing the seat closest to me. My heart skipped a beat. Young people these days are impressive. There's this girl who closed a huge deal just 3 months after joining. What's her name? Chloe Bennett. Dylan didn't even notice the way his lips curled up when he said her name. I thought back to the account on the smart display. Chloe, not cheese. The truth was staring me in the face. On the way to the restaurant, I naturally picked up Dylan's phone. Jealousy check. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. I chuckled. "Are you scared? I have nothing to hide." Technically, his chat history didn't show anything overtly inappropriate. "Boss, this is my first deal. Shouldn't you reward me? Send me what you want, and I'll pay for it." It looked like just a boss encouraging his subordinate, but Dylan ignored one thing. No boss buys intimate clothing for an employee, and rewards don't cross that line. Another message popped up. "Boss, the client you referred signed the contract. What's my reward this time?" Such a lively young girl. Even without checking her Instagram, I could picture how young and vibrant she was. How far had these two gone? I held the phone up to Dylan. "You got a message." He didn't even glance at it. "Honey, I'm driving. Can you reply for me?" I had no interest in replying, but she kept pestering. "Boss, why aren't you replying? Am I being too pushy?" "Sorry." Her groveling me made me laugh despite myself. When she called, I felt more anticipation than anger. "Boss, you have time to answer the phone but not text me. This is Dylan's wife. He's driving." Her tone went from pouty to icy in an instant. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bother you too." From start to finish, there was no explicit misconduct in their interactions, but the more innocent it seemed, the guiltier they were. I stared at the information my best friend Mia had dug up. The two had checked into a hotel 2 months ago. Dylan's bank statements showed he'd transferred nearly $500,000 to her. I was exhausted and drifted off to sleep. The car jolted to a sudden stop, jolting me awake. Dylan looked anxious, while I was still groggy. He urged me to get out. "Something came up at the company. I have to go back." "I'll come with you." My words were lost in the car exhaust as Dylan drove away. Mia called, telling me the company Dylan had recommended was hers. They were throwing a celebration party that night. A bunch of middle-aged men, most with receding hairlines, loved pressuring young girls to drink. Chloe was no exception. She'd called Dylan her closest person, and he'd abandoned his wife without a second thought to rush over. Mia was at the party and video called me to live stream it. "I'm sorry, I really can't drink. Alcohol makes me dizzy." "So what? We'll just drive you home afterward." The girl in a white dress was surrounded by men. Her cheeks were flushed, tears threatening to fall. Her helplessness only emboldened the men. "We're about to partner up. Don't you trust us?" "It's not that." At this point, refusing to drink would mean losing the contract. "If you don't drink this glass, you're insulting us." Dylan's arrival was like a knight in shining armor. He rushed to Chloe's side, shielding her from the leering eyes. Chloe, who'd been putting on a brave face, immediately teared up and threw herself into Dylan's arms. "You're finally here. I missed you so much." Dylan let her hug him. With her protector there, Chloe's tone turned bold. "You took forever. They were trying to make me drink. I was so scared." The older men rubbed their heads awkwardly. "If we'd known she was Mr. Grant's girl, we never would have dared." Dylan's voice was cold. "Now you know." "How ridiculous." I watched through the screen as my husband played hero for another woman, one who was far less attractive than me, with no makeup and wearing a plain t-shirt and overalls, looking nothing like a professional. I clearly heard someone next to Mia say, no matter how hard a woman works, it's better to hold on to her man at home. Not everyone at the party was a low-level employee. Mia deliberately asked her brother, the CEO of Mang Enterprises, to offer a toast. Even Chloe, let alone Dylan, couldn't refuse. The atmosphere froze. Mr. Grant has built such a successful business that he looks down on Mang Enterprises now. Even your subordinates dare to snub me. Chloe looked at Mia's brother with teary eyes. Unlike Dylan, he had no sympathy for her and pressed again. Are you going to drink it or not? Dylan picked up the glass and downed it in one go. Chloe can't drink, I'll take her place. The silent onlookers immediately teased. Chloe is so lucky to have Mr. Grant backing her up. Heard Mr. Grant doesn't usually drink much. His wife always covered for him at parties before. Chloe is living the dream. Yes, she was. A dream that made my mouth taste bitter with envy. All the alcohol I drunk for Dylan over the years threatened to come back up. Mia couldn't hold back her anger. Turns out Mr. Grant is such a good drinker. All those parties before, he made his wife take the shots. Chloe's face turned pale instantly, and she hid deeper in Dylan's arms. Dylan glared at Mia warningly. Ms. Mang, this has nothing to do with you. Bullshit. I gave you face out of respect for Luna, but don't forget, I'm the Mang family's eldest daughter. We're the client. You're the vendor. After Mia's outburst, Dylan fell silent, only holding Chloe and comforting her. Enraged, Mia slammed a bottle of white liquor in front of Dylan. If you're such a good drinker, finish this bottle. The contract stays, otherwise, we're calling off the partnership. I stood at the door, watching coldly. Chloe locked eyes with me, then suddenly snatched the bottle and chugged it down, collapsing into unconsciousness. Dylan panicked, picking her up and rushing out. He froze when he saw me, but didn't offer a single explanation, just carried Chloe and left. Mia kept cursing. What a bitch. All those drinks you had were for nothing. I sat dazedly with Mia, looking at Chloe's social media posts that Mia had pulled up. Whoa, watched the most beautiful fireworks with the love of my life. He said we'll grow old together. The night of the fireworks, I'd asked Dylan out, but he'd made up an excuse. Can't wait to have a baby that looks like my love. Trying for a baby. My heart was shattered into a million pieces. I couldn't even curse like Mia. How disgusting. Dylan has a wife. She has no right to do this. I laughed bitterly. Dylan said he's child-free. Turns out, he just didn't want kids with me. After years of marriage, I'd always wanted a child. But Dylan had always said his career came first, even as the company thrived. He refused to budge. I just don't really like kids. He told me he was child-free. I'd felt regretful, but always put his wishes first. As I told Mia this, I thought about how Dylan's family had attacked me behind my back, calling me domineering for refusing to have children and cutting off the Grant family line. Dylan couldn't tell his family about being child-free, so I'd borne all the pressure. But Chloe's posts were clear. I just graduated. I still feel like a kid myself, but my boyfriend wants a baby. I'm scared I won't be a good mom, but my boyfriend says he'll handle everything. In a faceless video, Dylan's voice was tender. Chloe, let's have a baby that looks like you and me. I'll hold them in the palm of my hand. A college classmate who worked at the hospital called, hesitantly hinting, Luna, are you and Dylan having problems? She'd seen Dylan carry an unconscious girl into the hospital for a checkup. He'd been frantic, and the girl had just found out she was pregnant. Dylan had been over the moon. That's wonderful news. I asked my classmate for a favor, and she agreed without hesitation. Sure enough, Chloe had woken up and posted another update. 2 hands overlapping, holding a pregnancy test, finally welcoming our precious baby. Dylan was still wearing our wedding ring in the photo. I liked the post and commented, what a coincidence, your boyfriend's wedding ring is identical to mine. I took a photo of my ring and attached the original custom design sketches. I designed this ring myself years ago. It's one of a kind. The comments exploded with gossip. Whoa, is this a wife versus mistress showdown? Found out my husband is cheating via Instagram? This is straight out of a novel. Dylan called immediately. Honey, I was in a hurry earlier and didn't have time to explain. Chloe is my colleague. I just dropped her off at the hospital. Don't misunderstand. At this point, he still wanted to lie to me. He'd gotten another woman pregnant and was treating me like a fool, but I had no fetish for being cheated on. I wasn't going to wear this green hat. Netizens kept asking for details. I pretended to be confused and replied, I'm shocked too. How could someone have the same ring as my husband? Someone commented sharply, maybe it's not the same ring, it's the same husband. The mistress is pregnant, and you had no idea. Others accused me of being the mistress. Age doesn't make you the legal wife. She's having his baby, maybe you're the one who's pretending to be shocked. I replied with a photo of our marriage certificate. But my husband and I have been married for 5 years. This can't be right. I even asked Dylan, I believe she's just your colleague, but everyone else is calling me the mistress. Dylan fell silent, comforting Chloe in the hospital bed while half-heartedly brushing me off. People online love making up stories. Don't pay attention to them. That's not okay. Being falsely called a mistress is an insult. I need to clear my name. With that, I lifted my phone, pushed open the hospital room door, and started live streaming. Let me introduce you. This is my husband, legally married. When I saw Chloe in the bed, I marched over. Honey, who is she? Tears streamed down my face instantly, pretending to just realize the truth. I grabbed Chloe's arm. Are you the influencer with the same ring as me? I looked at Dylan in disappointment, my voice trembling with disbelief. So you're the boyfriend she's talking about? You really cheated on me. I couldn't tell if it was acting or genuine grief over our years together. I slapped Dylan hard across the face. You cheated on me, got her pregnant, and you lied about being child-free. I went crazy, hitting Dylan repeatedly. Ever since I'd confirmed his affair, I'd been planning this revenge. Cheaters deserve to lose everything they cherished. Dylan had to pay. The live stream of me confronting the mistress quickly hit nearly 1 million viewers. I had to nail both of them to the wall of shame. Dylan, aren't you going to explain? In the comments, netizens dug up everything about Chloe and Dylan, blasting them as shameless cheaters. I cried until I could barely speak. Dylan tried to wipe my tears, but I pulled away. He'd once promised never to make me cry again, that every day after meeting him would be happy. From now on, you'll only shed tears of joy. Luna, he'd broken that promise. Dylan had cheated, and he'd hurt me deeply, but he claimed he still loved me. His heart just had room for another woman. Chloe was hysterical. Mia's camera was pointed right at her. In less than a day, everyone would know she was a homewrecker. Her family would be shamed too. She'd never imagined such a fate. She was terrified. She clung to Dylan, begging, "You can't admit it. We'll both be ruined." Dylan looked at me, pleading, "Luna, let's go home and talk." Why should I spare them any dignity? My silence made Dylan angry. He lunged for my phone. "Luna Grant, do you really want to destroy me?" His tone was harsh. In that moment, he only cared about Chloe. Washing dirty laundry in public will embarrass you too. I knew exactly what he cared about, his pride, not Chloe. I felt powerless. Had he ever cared about our years together? How could he fall for someone else so quickly? I'd been blinded by love. Only now did I see his true colors. Mia pointed the camera at Dylan, who tried to cover his face. "You said you hated drinking. Since we started the company, I've taken every shot for you, even got a perforated ulcer. I did it because I loved you, but you'd risk it all to drink for another woman. The Dylan I loved is dead. The man in front of me feels like a stranger." I looked at him, still hoping to see a hint of hesitation, but there was none. "It's over between us." He frowned impatiently. "We'll talk about this later." There was nothing left to talk about. He owed me every favor, every sacrifice, every tear. "Dylan, I gave you everything, and I can take it all back." He'd forgotten how he'd gotten here, without me paving the way, using all my connections to help him. He'd never have his current success. "You really think clients come to you? What do you have to offer?" It was absurd. When we started the company, Dylan had suggested putting the legal representative under my name. I'd been touched, thinking it was a sign of complete trust. I'd ignored Mia's warnings. "He's just passing the responsibility to you. If something goes wrong, he'll walk away clean." Since I'd borne all the risks, I was taking what was mine. Luckily, Dylan had generously put all the company's shares under my name back then. "Everything under my name, you're not getting a penny." I threw the divorce papers in Dylan's face. He skimmed them and shouted, "Luna Grant, you're crazy. I'll never sign over all this to you." I laughed. "It's already mine. I don't need your permission." He tried to be clever. "These are marital assets. We have to split them equally." I pulled out the original company documents, clearly detailing the financial situation when we founded it. "I invested all the startup capital, even if you count your technical expertise as equity. Your contribution was less than 1%. You don't deserve anything." Dylan hadn't expected me to keep such detailed records. He read them repeatedly, then collapsed onto a chair in defeat. "Take your time, everything is documented. You can't deny it." He stared at the divorce papers and share certificates. "When did you start planning this?" How disappointing. He'd cheated deliberately, so he assumed my divorce plan was equally premeditated, just to ruin him. Dylan had no choice. He'd cheated first. Even if he took it to court, he'd lose. Unlike him, Chloe reacted violently. She knocked the pen out of Dylan's hand as he prepared to sign. She clung to him, refusing to let go. "Dylan, those are marital assets. You can't just give them up." She was naive, thinking he had a choice. When Dylan didn't respond, she shouted at me, "You're so cruel. You want Dylan to have nothing. He worked for this company too. You can't use his guilt to steal everything." Mia pointed the phone at her face. "Say that again to the camera, you shameless woman." Chloe fell silent. Dylan had to sign. He hesitated, pen in hand, as Chloe sobbed, "Dylan, don't sign it, please." I threw my phone in front of him, showing Chloe's social media posts. "You can refuse to sign, fine, but Chloe's account is like a diary of your affair. In court, you'll not only get nothing, you'll be humiliated. Chloe hugged her flat stomach, crying, "We can't let our baby have nothing." I pointed at her stomach. "This baby isn't even born yet. Do you want him to be called a bastard for the rest of his life?" He cared about the baby, so he pushed Chloe away and signed his name. "Luna, I loved you." His words made me sick. I shook my head. "You loved me, but now you're using it as a bargaining chip." Caught red-handed. He insisted, "You'll regret this." I wouldn't. Just like I didn't regret loving him unconditionally. Even though it had ended in chaos, I didn't regret it. I knew I could rebuild my life. As I walked out of the hospital room, my classmate handed me something. She'd witnessed everything. "Dylan is such a jerk. You deserve better." "I will. I would live better than anyone." I didn't want the marital home, but I wasn't going to let Chloe have it. I hired a moving company to take every single thing that belonged to me. By the time we finished, the house was empty, like a show home. The housekeeper held up a lacy bra, asking if I wanted to keep it. It wasn't mine, it was Chloe's. I'd known they'd slept there, but seeing the evidence firsthand made me gag. Dylan moved Chloe into the house. When he saw me, he mumbled an excuse. "She's pregnant. The new house has too much formaldehyde. Suit yourself." Chloe screamed when she saw the empty rooms. "You emptied the whole house. How are we supposed to live?" Dylan's face turned cold. "Luna, you're so petty. How unfair. I was just taking back my own things. Yet I had to explain to two idiots." After I left, Dylan was in a daze. From dating to marriage, Luna had always stood up for him, particularly at business dinners. Toasting was a must. Refusing meant lacking sincerity, but he hated alcohol. Luna had always stepped in front of him, a spoiled young lady who'd never done manual labor. She'd humble herself to charm clients, all while staying graceful. Everyone who worked with them praised her. Over time, Dylan's gratitude turned to jealousy. At the company they'd built together, everyone knew a Ms. Grant, but not always a Mr. Grant. In the early days, to save his pride, Luna had made a point of introducing him, but as they got busier, she'd stopped noticing these little details. It ate at Dylan. As a man, being overshadowed by his wife embarrassed him, so he'd chosen Chloe, someone who was inferior to Luna in every way. He craved her dependence, her admiration, treating him like a god. Luna handled work effortlessly. Chloe, however, complained constantly. "This is so hard. I don't know how to do it." It was just a simple spreadsheet, but Dylan fixed it easily. Chloe looked at him with adoration, gushing, "Mr. Grant, you're amazing. You're my inspiration." He'd let the praise go to his head. He started doing her work for her, then passing her his own client data when she struggled, abusing his power for her. It was wrong, but Chloe's reaction fed his ego. "Mr. Grant, you're such a kind person. I would have been fired without this. This is my first real job. You saved my life." Dylan was brainwashed. He'd wrapped Chloe in his protection like a shield. Looking at the living room projector, he remembered when they'd first bought it. "Dylan, we'll watch movies here together. You'll put your arm around me, and I'll snuggle up. Just the two of us." Dylan stared at the empty couch, as if he could see Luna's ghost. He reached out, but there was nothing. Suddenly, he rushed to the master bedroom. Their wedding photo was gone. All pictures of Luna had been removed. Even their couple photos had her half cut out. Dylan frantically searched the fragments, hoping to find a trace of her. Instead, he found a diary. It was Luna's, detailing their entire relationship, from meeting to her discovery of his affair. "I never thought I'd doubt if Dylan is cheating. I must be overthinking. I hate my intuition. It always leads me to the truth." There were tear stains on the pages. Dylan's heart ached. How could he have hurt her so badly? He'd promised to love her forever at their wedding. In the end, all the pain she'd endured had come from him. "Mia has cursed Dylan 100 times. I know she's sad for me. No one knows how much I've sacrificed for this relationship more than her." At the end, Luna wrote, "Love is risky." Dylan wanted to slap himself. He was a monster. "Mia says she wishes I'd never met Dylan, but I don't regret it. Falling in love was my choice. I just made a mistake." Feelings were fleeting. Dylan couldn't even explain when he'd fallen out of love. The last pages were smudged with tears, the ink running. Just like the end of their story, he could no longer see Luna's heart. His phone dinged. It was a video from our college classmate, Olivia. It was security footage from the hospital the day I'd gone to see her. "Luna, is Dylan really cheating? Will you forgive him?" He remembered Olivia had worked at that hospital for years. "She was my friend. We'd both studied medicine in college." But for Dylan, the returns were too slow. He'd wanted to make quick money, so he'd chosen to start a business. For me, it had been different. My family was wealthy, medicine was my dream, but I'd given it up to support him. "Luna, this goes against my professional ethics, but Dylan and that woman are too shameless. I had to send this to you." I'd cried, hugging Olivia. "Liv, I never thought Dylan and I would end up like this, especially for someone like her. Olivia had gritted her teeth. If I weren't a doctor, I'd kill him. Watching the first half of the video, Dylan's hands tightened. He realized what he'd lost. Even seeing my red, puffy eyes hurt, but he'd been the one to make me cry. The hospital security camera showed Chloe in the hallway, holding her phone and talking to a friend. Do I really have to lie to him? What other choice do you have? He's married. Chloe, if you want to be his wife, you need leverage. Chloe hesitated, but the truth will come out eventually. What if Dylan finds out? I'll be ruined. Her friend egged her on. If you're too scared, you'll get nothing. Chloe knew she was only holding on to Dylan's fleeting infatuation. He was her ticket to wealth and status. If she let go, her dream of escaping poverty would shatter. She didn't want to live in a shared apartment or ride the subway anymore. Dylan couldn't take it. He threw his phone across the room, but Olivia's voice continued. Dylan, you lost an amazing woman like Luna for a piece of trash. He'd never imagined Chloe's pregnancy was a lie. Before Dylan could confront her, Chloe banged on the door, hysterical from the online harassment. Dylan, are you there? Dylan, answer me. Something terrible happened. Dylan, please, I'm scared. Her shouting annoyed him. He opened the door, scowling. Chloe was sobbing. It's a disaster. Dylan, everyone's attacking us online. She held up her phone. My live stream had gone viral, with clips spreading everywhere. Dylan and Chloe were now infamous as the cheating couple. It's all Luna's fault. If it weren't for her, we wouldn't be getting cyberbullied. Dylan stayed silent. Chloe was incompetent. She couldn't even handle basic office work. Luna, on the other hand, had run a publicly traded company. Compared to Luna, Chloe was insignificant. When faced with problems, Chloe only screamed and cried. Luna had always handled things calmly and efficiently. Dylan couldn't think of a single thing Chloe did better than Luna. He said nothing, just pulled out the security footage and threw it in her face. Chloe froze, tears streaming. Dylan, this isn't true. I want to know, what did you tell the truth about? Chloe fell silent, but her sobs continued, loud and ugly, like a strangled duck. I had no choice. Dylan, I had no choice. After filing for divorce, I'd audited the company's accounts, especially the contracts Chloe had signed. With Dylan's protection, she'd embezzled money, keeping falsified books that clearly showed her crimes. Dylan must be out of his mind. This is illegal. I no longer felt heartbroken, just amused. What do you think will happen when they face jail time? Mia grinned. Looks like we'll get front row seats to a catfight. Neither of them will escape. The accounts also included Dylan's spending on Chloe during our marriage. Mia clicked her tongue. Both of them grew up poor, but they spend money like it's water. Spending is easy. Paying it back isn't. They'll be repaying this debt behind bars. I had no desire to see Dylan again, but he showed up uninvited. He looked years older, with stubble on his chin and a wrinkled suit that looked like it hadn't been washed in weeks, like a homeless man. He walked straight up to me. Luna, I just want to apologize. I stared at him, expressionless. His guilt was palpable, but I felt nothing. Luna, I know a sorry isn't enough, but I hope you don't let me ruin your happiness. I almost laughed. Do you really think you're worth it? Listening to him any longer would make me sick. I waved for security, who dragged him away. It was the last time I saw him. The evidence of embezzlement was irrefutable. Both Chloe and Dylan were arrested. In court, Chloe denied everything, claiming she had no idea where Dylan's money came from. She played the victim, acting innocent while spending stolen funds. But the bills didn't lie. When she saw the amount she owed, Chloe collapsed, screaming that she'd known nothing. The judge wasn't fooled by her act. On the day Chloe and Dylan were sentenced to prison, I finally let go of the past. From now on, every day would be a new beginning. I would focus on myself, unshaken by anyone. Thank you for reading today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting stories. See you next time.